my first day in the new workshop, really. We bought the house a few weeks ago, just finished moving out of the old house, and all the stuff's the new one. I finally got some time to begin setting up the shop, taking the old shelves down, repainting, cleaning, getting it set up to be the way it is. First thing we're going to do is open the windows, air this place out, start disassembling the old stuff that's, well, quite frankly, a little outscale for me. I prefer taller benches. You get to come along with me in this experience. I'm going to enjoy it. I hope you do too.
This panorama will capture the before state of the shop. You can see all the old shelves and materials that have been put up over time that I want to just pull down and put up something fresh, new, and personalized to me. Let's do this with a montage.
Let's start over by this door.
You can see here the work that went into pulling down all this material. These shelves were up with random screws of various lengths, sizes, and head shapes. Had to break out the crowbar and put some brute force into it some of the times. A lot of this material I will be able to recapture and reuse as I do the renovation, but this is really something that needed to be done first. Here's the first shelf off the wall, and this was a very satisfying feeling. Then there was moving on this shelf. This shelf had so many screws in it you would not believe. I just couldn't imagine how many screws were in this. Every time there were more and more. I eventually wound up breaking it. As my efforts went on, I continued working, but always kept an eye out for pieces that might be worth salvaging.
By the original owner of the shop. It's a pretty decent piece. I think it's probably worth salvaging and using in the new shop. It's old screwdrivers or hammers or something.
But after salvaging a few pieces, I just continued working my way around the shop. You can see I dropped my whole bin of nails there. That was annoying. The next day, I continued on, and you can see the big pile I have here, and I'm still pulling stuff down. And I'm about to get ready to go through this big sheet of old press board on the wall. It's got holes in it, but a lot of them are torn and ripped, and it's just not usable. Which leads me to my plan to rip this pegboard off the wall. I had hoped that this sheet would come off in pieces large enough to be reused, but for the most part it just broke and fell apart in my hands as I pulled on it. It had been up for too many years. It had dry rotted in place nearly. The effort required to remove all these old shelves from the wall took a lot more than my camera battery could stand, and I missed working my way around the shop on camera. The next day I was able to start again, and you can see from this panorama all that I've got done and a few materials I've bought for the future. With all the shelves off the wall, it's time to begin cleaning up and sorting through the material to see what can be salvaged and what needs to just be thrown away. Sorting through this material to find the good and the bad took me well over a day. Hard work and perseverance did pay off, and I was eventually able to get this to a point where I could just have a space to work. This let me focus on removing the screws and old hardware from some of the better materials that I could repurpose for use in the new shop layout. Completing my reclamation efforts in the front of the shop, I was able to move to the rear of the shop and work towards reclaiming the large sheet goods that used to be in the old cabinets that I took apart. After the sorting, all that was left was sweeping up. My friend Jerry had showed up and offered to help, and I took him up on his offer. I believe Jerry hopes to do some of his own projects using the workshop once things get rolling.